are sharing our top 5 non-Nintendo series
that we love.
I'll let you. It's weird when we talk in unison. We don't need to do that.
I was just reading the thing. Non-Nintendo series
that we love, yes.
That we love, yes.
This is not ranked.
This is not ranked. No. It's not in any specific order.
But
number
1, Assassin's Creed.
Yes. I don't think you and I have missed a mainline Assassin's Creed game in many.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say I've never missed one.
No,
and
many.
Ezio Goes to Turkey. I don't think you played that one. Revelations, I believe that was called.
Oh, I didn't know.
No. There's a lot more Assassin's Creed games than you might think.
Mainline.
Well, who's to say what's mainline?
Oh my gosh,
Ezio is mainline.
Now we're going to get into this debate.
So what do we love about this series?
Well, I think... Well, let me tell you what we love about Assassin's Creed, people. My favorite thing about the series is the whole historical element of it. Like, I love learning about
What was your major in college?
History, European history.
Again, jackpot.
Not really related to anything we're doing now.
As they say, major bag alert with those history majors, just raking it in.
Hey, you don't know. What if I uncover?
This is interesting because this series I think gets kind of lumped into stuff like National Treasure, where it's like, oh, this is it's historical, but it's pseudo historical.
Yeah.
But I think there's enough there that you can actually really dig into it. And I will actually say, I've actually learned a number of things.
Yeah.
And I have been inspired to
go to those
place.
places. Yeah.
After Assassin's Creed 2, the first Ezio game.
Everyone went to Italy.
I legit went to Italy.
Yeah, we all went to Italy.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah, and of course, you look around Italy, you're like, I can climb that tower. I can climb that tower.
Right.
You should definitely climb that tower.
Those towns are very unchanged from those times. So having that experience in that game of just walking down those streets, you can see oh, this is what that would be like, and that's really cool.
You're like, I could stab someone around this corner if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Don't do that in Italy. But that was literally, as I was walking around, I was annoying the people I was with.
Yeah, so there is the weird kind of pseudo historical stuff, and there's also the weird ancient aliens storyline, which I don't know how much you like that.
That part of it always kind of confused me, honestly.
It is
the apple of Eden, that whole thing. I'm like,
the series does seem to vacillate of is this important? Is this not important?
But they don't actually show you that much of it, because you're always in the animus, in the place that you are.
The last game, Valhalla, it's huge. It's at the end of that game. There's a massive.
That's true.
It's a huge part of it. So maybe it's becoming more of the future, but yeah, and I think it's also interesting how that series has modernized over years, which Origins, the Egypt
I love
game.
That one.
They've really overhauled what that game was.
That's right.
It was kind of annualized for a while, and I think it started to get a little burned out. And they sort of no, we're going to take some time and rethink this.
Rethink it. Yeah.
And it's a different game, but it's the same game.
It opens up so much more though. Yeah. It feels so much more exploratory.
Yeah. And the action feels better.
Way better.
The fighting was a little iffy in those really early games.
In the early games.
So that's why we talked about this last week. I'm a little afraid to go back to those pre-Origins games.
Those are on Switch now, and we're
it just might not hold up super well.
Because the ones so Origins, and then there was the one in Greece.
Yeah. With Odyssey,
which is another one that blew me away. Yeah. Good, and then Valhalla was.
Well, there was Black Flag.
Black Flag.
Yeah, that is it's we're just gonna make this amazing pirate ship game. It's what?
The thing about that game was that it was distracting, because I did not do the main story. I was just sailing around plundering islands for I don't know, a month. It was great.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and they continue to put little boating segments.
I do like the boating thing that's integrated into.
I'm sure from their perspective, it's we made this awesome boating engine.
Let's use it.
Let's get some use out of it.
Let's get some boats in here.
Yeah. So we are.
Syndicate. That was another. That was
the England one,
which was also very good. Yeah. So big fans.
You have a printed out right there.
It's right there.
Oh, but it's covered up.
You covered it up with something.
What does it say? Nothing is forbidden, everything is permitted. So I think that's what it is.
The creed of the assassin. You gave that to me.
It's a good third eye saying to look beyond your limits.
I had that on my desk at work for a really long time. You gave it to me when I was going through a really hard time, and I put it on my desk to remind myself that you could do whatever. You can push beyond these.
Here's this. Now get back to work.
But now you're in the studio.
Buck up, kiddo.
Pick up your face.
We got quotas.
You gotta meet the sales quotas. Selling Switch games out of my trunk.
All right, number 2, Fable. The game that we bonded over.
Yes, the game that brought us together.
Now, I have a potentially blasphemous thing to say about Fable.
A hot take?
So Breath of the Wild is my favorite Zelda game ever. Up to that point, I was not the most hardcore Zelda fan. I played every Zelda game.
Right. You were not into the puzzles so
much.
But
I am bad at puzzles.
Yeah.
I am dumb at puzzles.
But you just don't like them, I don't think.
Like Fable 2 for me, I was like, I actually wish Zelda was this more than it is, which
Whoa.
very, very controversial.
Controversial
But it was
thoughts.
just like such a good blend of like exploration and action and progression.
Yeah.
And charm and humor.
The humor part of it was the best, though.
So, very British developer doing very British things.
It's funny.
Chicken chaser.
The chicken chaser. I like those stupid little like mini games they had in there too, like that tavern pouring.
The farting.
The farting. Yeah,
love that British humor.
Like, the British humor is good. Like it's crude, but it's good.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
But like, okay, they had that game where you were like a bartender, and you had to pour the ale or whatever.
Yeah.
I would use like a piece of tape. And I tape the little where the meter needs to go on my TV screen, so I get like perfect pours every time. Like, oh my god, those are the kind of things we're messing around with Fable. You know, it's like the main game was great, but it was also the little side like quirky things that made it so special.
And that's another series, that gets roasted a lot because it's like, oh, Peter Molyneux didn't deliver on like his crazy promises for the first game, but it's like, no, there's actually
quite a lot in there.
If you look beyond that, which was like, all right, that was never going to happen in the first place. Like, there's a lot there.
There's a lot there
that really makes it feel like your story.
That exactly, yeah. We bonded over Fable 2.
That
was the one that we were both playing at the time.
And I actually went back and I replayed the remake of Fable 1 recently. Still holds up pretty well.
Holds up, yeah.
That's crazy how old that is. That's an original Xbox game. Fable 3 was a little iffy.
Yeah, Fable 3 I didn't love as much.
Yeah, it started to get
Fable 2 was like blow me away, amazing.
But the new Fable game announced. I was like, I don't know if that studio is in England. It's very important. I checked. They are.
They are.
So the British humor, the farting will be intact.
The farting, the chicken chasers, the taverns. Well, we're here for it. Let's go.
Number 3. God of War. Now I have a question for you. You obviously played the most recent one.
Yes.
What is your history with the ones before that? I'd like to know. Because this is another series that kind of transformed itself.
No, I played the...
You played those?
I played those,
okay. Because those are very different games.
Really different, yeah. I definitely played those older God of War games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think God of War 2 is probably my favorite of those. That was, I mean, again, it's crazy how old that game is. It's a PS2 game.
Which was the one with the crazy climbing?
I think that was one actually.
That was the one. That was the one that I think I remember the most.
Yeah.
That must have been my obviously.
Yeah. I feel like 2 was a much more refined version of 1.
You're right.
And then 3 was the one that was on PS3 and started to get a little like self-aware with like the crazy gore, and some of the stuff. And then there was like, I think they did one after that. I think it was called God of War Ascension that like had multiplayer. I didn't play that one. I don't think. And it kind of felt like, kind of like Assassin's Creed, that series was kind of falling off.
Yeah. Well, it started to get a little bit like repetitive.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then of course they overhauled it.
Yeah,
and it's amazing now.
So I am of Scandinavian heritage. So I of course enjoy all of the trappings of that, and of course the latest Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah.
Because like I've actually like read some of the like
the
Norse
actual Norse
myths and stuff. So
yeah, we
obviously
were inspired to read a lot of the myths after playing God of War. We read that really great Neil Gaiman book.
Yeah.
That was good.
Look at me learning on account of video games.
See, people say you can't get smart. Guess what?
We got smart.
We got smart. SMRT smart.
I've been smart and I got smarter.
Look at that great marketing brief I wrote. Come on, guys. Give us some credit. But yeah, it does inspire you to like learn more about like the history of those places and where these stories come from.
Right.
One of my favorite things about, speaking of like the stories, one of my favorite things about the latest God of War game is when you were like sitting in that little boat.
Oh, the boat.
They would just like tell you stories, and sometimes I just like sit in the boat. I'm like, oh, I should be like moving on with this mission, but just want to listen to the stories and the conversations. It's like so well done.
Right.
Yeah.
Number 4, Yakuza.
Oh yeah.
A little different from some of these other ones, but this is an amazing series that I think, again, has really gotten popular. It's almost like a Monster Hunter-y kind of trajectory where it's like, it was very niche Japanese game, and then boom.
It blew up.
It kind of was, maybe Yakuza 0 was the one where it started to get more mainstream.
Yeah.
But we both played Like a Dragon.
I loved that game so much.
When did we play that, actually?
That was like over Christmas break?
It was maybe like
Thanksgiving.
Not that long ago, basically. Oh yeah, I think Thanksgiving we played that. Yeah, not that long ago. But that, you know, is a whole new character and kind of a whole new setting. But I mean, that series feels like it is just red hot right now.
Yeah.
Cannot wait for the next of those games. Just super zany, super action packed.
Yeah. And you have a very specific obsession with bubble era Japan.
Oh yeah.
Which makes these games very like.
Well, Zero is the only one that's set. In that
I know, but still, like it has like that weird
throwing money at the taxis.
You gotta throw the money. You got like the hundies out, you know. Those like you're in the club with the champagne and then insane like whatever. Yeah. But
I am not the crazy Yakuza player that will do all of the side stuff.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'd never finish that game.
You'd never finish that game.
But I do. Yeah.
The stock market stuff with the chicken that was like you're like is like part of the board. Like,
so I initially really didn't like that because it's kind of a lot for them to throw at you like midway into the game, and it took me a while to understand what was going on.
I had to watch like some tutorials on that, but then I grew to love them. Like I love
the shareholder meetings are some of the best. Like. Is it an in-joke for us because we dealt with like
shareholder
stuff? We never worked on the Nintendo like shareholder report, but we knew enough about it that I think we could imagine
it felt like kind of visceral almost.
Yeah.
Like you imagine like the pressure of this like foot tapping shareholder like glaring you down as you like reported your earnings.
And we could like imagine like Mr. Iwata at this like hotel banquet room in this very like generic thing, like reading the report.
Yeah.
And the foot
tapping. It's like ridiculous.
It is so
And then you just cross your fingers and you pray for like the sake. You're like, please be sake, please be sake, please be sake. Or he gets really mad.
You can bomb in those. Oh man. Don't bomb.
Yeah, see that's a very special executive skill that I do not have at all. Like there's no way I'm giving a shareholder update.
You need to know the numbers.
There's no way.
You need to know it.
That's terrifying.
But then the last one, SpiderMan. Yeah.
Well, that series, I will admit that I jumped on pretty late. I didn't play like a lot.
Well, it's a relatively new. I mean, we're not talking about the whole history of Spider-Man.
Right. Yeah. But like the Insomniac ones. Yeah. But yeah, I think that game is one of those like cinematic games done really well, where it doesn't feel like you're not doing anything, but it feels enough like you're watching like a Marvel movie. But you're playing a game, which is really cool. And you and I really enjoyed the Miles Morales one because we played it around Christmas time.
Yeah.
And it was like very festive. And
I didn't know that actually. As I was playing it around Christmas, like, oh, this is a nice little bonus. It's festive.
Yeah, it's really festive, and you feel like that sort of sense of like coming home for the holidays, meeting an old friend. That turns out to be kind of evil.
Yeah. The thing I love about that game is it's only like 6 or 7 hours long.
That's true. It's very doable.
But when I think back of my experience with it, like I had a very full gaming experience. Like I didn't feel like they were cutting corners or rushing or anything. It's like no, they found a way
to like pack it all in.
There's no filler at all in that game. And it's like I kind of wish more games would be like that actually.
Yeah, because sometimes you get deterred when it's like, oh, this game's gonna take 400 hours to complete. You're like,
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah, you're like, but
that game was long.
The ending was
80 hours. Crazy. I think
we did do it though.
We did.
It was long. Towards the end, I was like, I need to stop. I can't storm.
We couldn't let one another down.
More forts. I really can't do this. It's the same.
The monastery needed to be raided though.
I cannot raid the monasteries anymore. But yeah, it is a very like. It's like a very full experience, and it just does feel like you're watching a movie, you know?
So there's another one of those on the way. And then they're also doing a Wolverine game, which I think is going to be amazing. How is Insomniac making all these games?
Well, they're 6 hours long.
Like there was a stretch like early PS5 where it was like, oh, half the games that are actually native to PS5 Insomniac made. It's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, how big is that studio?
I don't know. They're onto something though.
They are. They got a formula worked out, or they got a system worked out. Yeah. Right. Yeah, the new, I rewatched the trailer for the new SpiderMan game, the reveal with Venom, just last night to like refresh my memory of it. That looks good. Yeah. That looks really good. That's like next year, so something to look forward to.
That's a launch date I won't worry about.
2023, they say.
All right.
it's far from here, from now. But
all right.
It's still coming.
I'll be ready when it's done.
Exactly.
So that's the list. There's the list.
That is the list. We would love to hear your list too.
Yeah.
So tell us what series you guys love, non-Nintendo series. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
If you agree, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or if you don't agree, let us know. Just tell us. Tell us all things.